path pain of N24 more variant. Wait, no, bro. Just quickly rinsing off that measuring cup because again, we're going to be using that measuring cup a lot later as well. Now here's the crazy bit. We're almost done. We're essentially almost done making the bread. Also, on the Silksong website, you can listen to What's Likely the Game's main menu theme. It's true. And also, if you check out Team Cherry's blog post about Silksong, you can hear some of Chris Larkin's music for it. So just sifting out my flour again. Let's get this nice and beautiful. Nice and beautiful. Look at that beautiful structure. And now what we're going to be waiting for, what we're going to be waiting to hear is from this stand mixer. I'm going to be waiting to hear it kind of get stuck, in a sense. Let me do a quick cleaning of our... Actually, I don't know why I'm doing that. Knowing what the next step is. I'm thinking Silksong will cost only like 10, I'm guessing between like 10 to 20 bucks is what I'm guessing Silksong will cost. I can actually just leave that. I'm just gonna leave this. I'm not gonna bother cleaning it. I think I'm gonna be sifting more flour through it later. So you can see in the bowl, and I'll bring this up to you, that we're getting to a heavier, thicker dough at this point. Team Cherry has not. There's been no discussion of a release schedule at all. I'm guessing $15 like the main game. Yeah, that's why I figure it'll be 10 to 20 bucks, somewhere in between, in that range. Hypersonic. All right. Let's wipe some of this down. We'll get this flour in here. One thing that I need to do before I start moving this, I want Team Cherry to have all my money. Fair enough. That's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna just flour up my working surface here. Because what I'm gonna do next, or what we gotta do next with this dough, is we've gotta knead it. We need to knead the dough. Yes, I know, the jokes are everywhere. So what I'm doing right now is I'm clearing off the paddle because a lot of dough got stuck to it. And obviously I want as much dough in the bowl as possible because I'm about to turn this dough out. It wasn't even the proper tense of for that sentence. I don't know why I decided to say turnt. So I'm going to turn all this dough out onto my working surface to knead it by hand. Now, mainly because it's just a bit, it's to show how to do this by hand, but my stand mixer did come with a dough hook, which means that if I really want to be lazy, I could just let the dough hook do all the work. But this is going to take a few minutes of kneading, and for reference, if you don't know what a dough hook looks like, this is a dough hook. This is what you would use to just use the stand mixer to knead the dough automatically for us. But we've got a lot of time to kill, so I'm going to actually take the manual method. So this is what our bread dough looks like right now. First, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you, noob. I hope you're having a great day. So before I completely turn this out onto the table, I'm going to try to get this combined a little bit. It's very, this is kind of what happened yesterday too, where it ended up very, gave TC all the money I could. We do need it. Where there was a section of the dough that was very wet. and but the rest of the dough is very dry. So the kneading process in this case is really helpful because it gets everything combined together. And right now I'm just trying to get it a little more solidified as a ball before I release it upon this table covered in flour. Can I get up? No, you cannot, Furf. Since it's Silk Song and Hone is half Pale King, Pale King is a silkworm confirmed. Well, it could really be coming, the silk part of it really could be coming from either her upbringing. Oh man, yeah, this is really soft dough, or a really dry dough. So what I'm actually going to do while I'm here, I'm warming my food up while watching this. Memes, welcome back to the stream. Know a few people who just gift HK to people to give TC more money. What cake is this? This is currently bread. This is currently bread memes. We will be getting to the cake in a little bit. Today, I was adopted alongside my brothers years back. Whoa, King Numbers. Also, welcome back to the stream, and that's some incredible news. Very cool. Sadly, this fell on the floor, so this will not be going into our bread loaf. Let me get a little bit more water. Just a little bit. Our dough is exceptionally dry. And that's not really great. Welcome to the stream. I hope you are having a great day, King Numbers. One of the things that surprised me was Hornet stabbing herself to give herself lifeblood masks. Now, I have things to say about that, Hypersonic. I didn't see her get lifeblood masks. I did see the blue pop in, but maybe I wasn't paying enough attention, but I did not see her gaining lifeblood masks from stabbing herself. I just saw a flash of blue, but maybe I missed that too. The last few frames, oh. How can dough be dry in such a moist kitchen? Well, I just clearly didn't add enough water this time around. My ratio of water to flour is a bit off, I guess. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, I didn't see anything about the void in there. All right, this is ridiculous. I'm getting you out of the bowl now. I'm getting this thing out of the bowl. We're just going to start really working this over to try to get this into a solid shape. Try to get this gluten activated and start holding this thing together. So this is kneading by hand. I'm kind of glad I'm actually doing this by hand because it's not often that I do this by hand anymore. And now, of course, I'm regretting covering my workspace in flour because that's only adding to drying out my dough, which is exactly what I don't want to do anymore. RIP. Enemies leak blue juice, so blue moth infection confirmed. Well, now we can't confirm that that the enemies are infected. We can't even confirm that. We can postulate and theorize that there is now some sort of, as Sagenta's putting it, like a lifeblood infection now. You know, and perhaps that is why Hornet has been captured. Is you know, this other kingdom was like, hey, so she was there when, you know, her kingdom fell / was saved. Perhaps she can save our kingdom too. You know, there's that idea. But the fact that she's been captured and she seems to be dragged against her will. But one of the biggest questions I have is, yeah, why was she captured and how? You know? J Milkman, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Twitch League of Noobs. I hope you enjoy your time here. Arrow, welcome back, by the way. How is it going? I'm struggling. I'm struggling with the dough. It's a bit drier than I expected it to be. So I'm trying to fix that by getting a little bit more water incorporated into the dough. Try to get it smoother, more elastic, which is what we're going for. We're trying to get a smooth, elastic dough here. So I am doing what I can to knead this water into the dough to get everything to hold together a little bit better. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah, she doesn't seem like she would, like, it definitely seems like she must have been, you know, either coerced into it, tricked into it, or ambushed. And yeah, it could be that assassin they talked about before. This is what is said on the website blog post. As Hornet, Princess Protector of Hallownest, adventure through a whole new kingdom haunted by silk and song. Captured and brought to an unfamiliar land, Hornet must battle foes and solve mysteries as she ascends on a deadly pilgrimage to the kingdom's peak. True, and Ari and William were saying that they wanted to go in a different direction, literally, from Hollow Knight, where Hollow Knight was all about descending and going deeper and deeper into under the surface of Hallownest. So they wanted Hornet to go higher and higher above. Even though she just binded a dude with string, that's all. I also thought at least one of the enemies leaked something red/blood looking when struck. It did look like the enemy dropped items arrow. Yeah, I saw that and went, oh. It might be this game's Geo in a sense, yeah. Shogun, welcome back to the stream, noob. How can we try this bread? You can make it yourself. That is unfortunately the only way that you can try this bread. I cannot ship it, for I don't think it would make the journey. It does not, because it is bread made from scratch and no preservatives, it does not last nearly as long as bread you would find in the grocery store. But it is it takes time, and you'll get to see that that the biggest thing is it does take time, but it is actually a fairly simple recipe and setup, and we are finally starting to get that elastic, that tough bread that we were looking for. We're finally getting there. It's still a bit drier than I want, so I'm still going to add just a little bit more water. Still got a couple drips of water left in here. And really, I think I only put about a quarter cup of water in my measuring cup there, which is only another 25% of water that I already had in here. And that's, sometimes all you need. One thing I'm glad about, I get to find another Team Cherry Metroidvania to explore completely blind. Yeah, so that's a kingdom suffering from weathers, and she's half weather, so there's that. Oh, you mean weavers? It's like, she's half weather? What's that mean? No, it really isn't. I do apologize, Hypersonic. You are correct that I used incorrect language there to say that it is simple. Though I will say that by comparison to the cake recipe we're going to be making, it is actually a very simple recipe. The cake is a bit more complex than this one. I wish I could play it for the first time again. Yeah, fair. There was a tomato juice leaking at me. Will we find Mr. Mushroom? Jay, that's a fantastic question. And we might. I mean, I would be... Based on the way they wrote Mr. Mushroom, I would be surprised if we didn't find him. because I think that'd be great. What is the recipe? Shogun, the recipe is... well, let's see. Here, this is the recipe. It makes 2... the recipe is meant for 2 loaves. I'm making it just for 1. But the recipe here is 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast, 2 cups of warm water, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 6 cups of all-purpose flour, and the recipe is approximate, so it could be a little bit. It could end up being a little bit more, a little bit less, which is kind of what I'm finding here. Is I probably went a little bit too much this time around. I should have gone with a little less. 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and 2 tablespoons of softened butter. Now again, I've been using only half of that. That's what that recipe is. I meant Hollow Knight really isn't the same on multiple runs. I have no complaints about it. Oh. Sorry. Thank you for explaining that, Hypersonic. Will there be a snail village? That's a good question, Art. I would be surprised. I would be surprised if there was a snail village. It's not to say that the snails exist only in Hallownest, but I would be a little bit surprised. This dough is still ending up a little bit drier than I'd like. But I do think we'll find Mr. Mushroom. I do think, Jay, you are correct. The Mr. Mushroom will be in there somewhere. Because again, they say that Mr. Mushroom visits kingdoms. So I think there will absolutely be Mr. Mushroom again. One of the areas did look like Forest of Bones concepts. That's true, Hypersonic, and it might be where they finally were like, oh, here we go. This is where it'll make sense. I checked Lifeblood / something blue bursts out of enemies, and they drop some red things, but there's one enemy in the trailer that leaks red. Ah. What about the dough hook? Is this dough? No one knows. The dough hook certainly would have helped and made this a bit easier. I could have just poured water in while the dough hook was working. But this gives us all this quiet time and allows us to, talk it out. I'll make this bread tomorrow. I should do it. Oh, that'd be amazing, Shogun. That'd be amazing. I'd love to see pictures of it on the food channel in Discord, because I think that'd be so cool to see. Oh, Snail Village in the first Hollow Knight trailer. Oh, okay. Maybe we will find a new enemy like them that doesn't make any sense. I mean, if they have another character like Monomon who kind of just makes her own things, then yeah. I think we will, Agenta. Yeah, so essentially, Shogun, you'll have to watch the VOD a little bit to get the full order of operations. But it is, get the yeast working first, then start adding flour, salt, all that sort of stuff. There was an enemy that looks similar to the ones in the White Palace. Do you think there's any link? I am going to talk about this a little bit further in my analysis video, J Milkman, but I do believe there is a link between between Hallownest and this kingdom. Yes. Yes, precisely, Art. You are exactly talking about it. You got it. By the way, I hope Silksong is good, because I saw lots of copies and trailer from Hollow Knight. The dough is doing much better now, Arrogant Spray Can. It's still not exactly what I want it to be, but it's a lot better. It's a lot better. Still might go with just a little bit more water. That's so strange. Yesterday when I made this, I didn't have this problem. So I must have ended up with a little bit more flour. It's definitely much more stretchy, Arrogant. Yeah. It's much stretchier now. You can just say ASC for short. Fair enough. Fair enough, ASC. Wait, are you ASC from the Discord then? Are you the same ASC? Is that what we're just seeing your full name here? We're seeing your true form here. Oh God, this is my final form. Though Steel Soul is now an interesting name, right? Because it could mean that there's like, it is actually like some sort of, you know, not just the name of the mode anymore. Now it means like construct or something. Art. Oh, you meant to say no one knows. Okay. I mean, it is true. There could just be less moisture here. I do live on top of a mountain lair. I do live in a lair on top of a mountain. Steel could be the nail. It's true. The in the Ichi-ni-san clips where she hops by enemies. Oh, Hornet uses needle and thread. The knight fights mainly with its nail. Hornet uses needle and thread. Right, which I definitely think is where some of the silk references are really coming from. Because the thread is, you know, purported to be from the weavers, which makes them spiders, which would make it a type of silk in a sense. All right, we're finally almost to the point where this is actually good and stretchy and smooth and ready for the most important part of bread making, the rising or the proving, however you want to define it or call it. Yeah, I'm sick and I don't have half things what I'm saying, so I'm actively half asleep. Fair enough. But yeah, we're finally getting to a point where this is actually becoming what I was hoping it would be. Dude! Hello! Welcome back to the stream, dude. How are you doing today? So what kneading does with bread is it essentially activates the gluten in the bread. It's what's going to give your bread that structure and that elasticity in a sense when it's done baking. So that's why kneading is such a big part of the process. Do we get Silksong in 2019? I think so. I think we are. Shogun, I think based on the amount of footage they have shown, and despite the fact that Silk Soul mode isn't done yet, I do think we're still going to get it in 2019. I think we're going to see it. Gluten for transformation strats, don't lose your way. You think 2020? Fair enough. I mean, it certainly could be, but my current belief is it'll be 2019. Dude, I'm happy to hear that you're doing well. I don't know the rest of the years. Late 2019. Yeah, I do think it'll be a late 2019 if it's going to be in 2019 at all. I do think it'll be late. Which is good for me because I still need like 6 months to get all the Godmaster content out. Sharp is with another 2 bugs or whatever they are, right? I wonder how they look like. Yeah, it's true. This has been in development since the base game was in development, not released. I'm gonna need you to set your sources on that one, Agenta. Because Hornet as a playable character was a Kickstarter stretch goal. So I know that like that was a thing that they wanted to start working on early on, but they've ended up doing so much more that wasn't part of the Kickstarter. There wasn't anything about a Grim Troop expansion or Lifeblood or Hidden Dreams. Godmaster wasn't part of Kickstarter. So I'm not quite I need a cited source for that bit of information. So I'm not sure that's exactly the case. thing with the nose in the trailer. Right. Can't wait, man. I'm still waiting for Ori and the Will of the Wisp for 2 years, based on what I remember TC saying that Hornets DLC has been in development since at least the base game has been released. Ah. Wait, so that just countered... I mean, you're saying that the Hornet DLC has been in development since the base game has been released. Right. I'm sure they were at least conceptualizing this during Godmaster development. I'm sure. I'm quite sure of that. Definitely. Okay. This is not exactly as smooth as I wanted it, but it's coming very close. Does doing this with the dough give different results than the dough hook? No. No, it really doesn't, Art. It's just this was so I could show you the process as it works. If you were going to do this part by hand, if you did not have a dough hook. I've also seen Hornet animation since prior to Grim Troop releasing. True. And Hornet was going to definitely need more animations for this. Speaking of Hornet animations, did anybody notice that Hornet has her parry? Anybody catch that? I answered, Art. I gave you the answer to your question. Then I left. True. Hidden behind the scenes, Hornet's gigantic. And growing for well over a year now, with the very first pieces coming together right after the original PC release back in 2017. True. There's definitely been a lot of work put into this. There's definitely been a lot of work put into this. I'm wondering how big this world will be. Yeah, same. Still not as smooth as I would like it. Let's get just a little bit more water into this. Just a little bit more water. Get this just a bit smoother. You know, if you were here at the beginning of the stream, you got to see the original of what this should eventually look like, and as you could tell, the top was very smooth. It was very nice. That's what I'm trying to get to right now. Will there be maps? Will there be another map guy? I wonder. Oh, I'm sure. I am sure at ASC that there will be maps. I think that would just be too much to ask of the player base to do this without maps. Yeah, I bet you this world will be as big, if not bigger, than Hollow Knights. Welcome back, Pecky. Mary, I hope the Corner Fern and Zelda could explore a new kingdom together. Yes, I think that would be great. I think that would be wonderful if we could get to see them again. I mean, yeah, since they wanted to make it a completely new game, I don't want to see everybody back, but, you know, it would be nice to have some references to the original game. It would be some cool continuity, for sure. The map gets me thinking about secrets. TC has gotten better at hiding stuff. By better, you mean absolutely requiring, like, a doctorate in forensic analysis to find secrets, then yes, they have gotten better at it. Alright, I think sadly, this is done. So, this is what we now have. This is the ball of dough we now have. Which means, that is exhausting. Alright, which means it's time to put it in a bowl. Now it's always important when you're going to put dough in a bowl to grease up that bowl. Now, if you're going to grease up a bowl, my preferred method is to take butter and spread that around with a paper towel, spread that around the inside of the bowl. Now we do this because one, the bread is going to expand, and two, we want the bread to be able to actually fall out of the bowl. We don't have to like really work the dough to get it out of the bowl. And Clockwork, welcome back to the stream, noob. Hope you're having a great day. By the way, in the press kit there is a character file called Boss Steel Assassin, a confirmed boss. Whenever it actually talks, and she actually can. That might be one of the reasons why the world is a bit more lively, because they were like, well, Hornet can talk, so let's make a world work more. I'm here to watch noob knead dough. Perfect. So we now cover our dough. I'm just going to set it to the side because we don't need to bother with that dough now for, let me set a timer, for an hour. The recipe states let the dough grow to double its size or an hour. I tend to just leave an hour. I tend to just give it an hour. So there. Got an hour on that. I've apparently received texts from people. Okay. Now we're switching gears. We're actually going to be moving on to the cake because we've got an hour. Put some random stuff in my phone and attacking and doing all the actions. It's true. So now I'm going to be off camera for a bit of this, but I'll keep checking in. So I got to clean this. I got to clean the mixing bowl. Pretty much got to clean everything to get to our next step, which is starting the cake. Where did I set my... There it is. Anyway, it's all speculating now anyway. It's true. Once someone pokes at every wall, it will be on the internet, then everyone will know where it is. I mean, that's the only way we found out where the Eternal Ordeal was. Verulian just went around poking every single wall and was like, hey, if it's impossible to hide, someone will data mine the game eventually. It's also true. The secrets will all be found at some point. Oh, not just that. Yeah, right. I think Hornet will have dialogue too. I don't think it will. I don't know if it will actually be actual voice lines, but I do think, I do think she will at least have written dialogue. Because again, she does in Hollow Knight, so why pull that in the next game? I think that would be actually very foolish of Team Cherry to do, so I don't think they're going to end up doing that. Well, rip that one. I'm currently learning forensic science, so I can confirm you do not need a degree in forensics. You need a degree in detective work, since I don't even know a lot of the secrets, or a degree with Googling and memorization. Tend to be good with maps. Make the pale dough tan and crusty. Yum yum. I still buy them because habits and certainty and convenience. Oh yeah, I still buy the maps. I wonder how people found the path or why someone found it. You know what they say about finding secrets? No cost too great. They can't make a reason why the heart can't talk if he doesn't. Exactly. Pale dough. Pale dough, Pale King confirmed in the stream. Very true. Pale King confirmed to be bread. Belle in the trailer has things similar to the seal of binding. Yeah. looking at it, no the Hollow Knight head. Yeah, the other piece to this whole idea of like Hornet being captured does make me think that the Pantheon of Hallownest ending is not the true ending, which kind of makes me angrier. They would make it so difficult to get that ending, and then they'd be like, yeah, it's not the real one anyway. Like, wait a minute. This is one of the hardest challenges in video game history, and you're not even making it canon. Because, I'm sitting there saying, one, how does Hornet get captured on her own? Like, let's be real, Hornet is a bit of a pretty good fighter. He's kind of a big deal, But then the idea of like, oh, well, Hornet was captured while the Hollow Knight was around, and, they were friends. How in the world did this happen? Because that's how I see it. I see the ending as, the spoiler alert if you haven't seen the ending after the Pantheon of Hallownest, incoming, Hollow Knight pops out of the black egg and he's like, and they're like, because they can't speak anyway. And Hornet's all like, oh, hey. So then they become best friends, and Hornet shows the Hollow Knight all around Hallownest and is like, look at all this stuff. Let's rebuild. Come on, help me. And the Hollow Knight's all like, ugh. So they help, and they rebuild, and then somehow this game happens. That's at least how it plays on my head. I want Hornet and the Hollow Knight to be best friends. Alrighty, time to start drying stuff off. Looking at it, yeah, I don't know if everybody already knows this, but the boss in the Silksong trailer that is seen in what appears to be the Forest of Bones is an ant. And the Forest of Bones was originally designed to be inhabited by ants, which is really great. Also, I noticed in the trailer, maybe maybe fire ants will appear. They are red. That would be, it'd be really cool if they introduced more ants. Also, I just noticed in the trailer there's a boss that seems similar to Grimm. Yes, there is seemingly a very theatrical moth-like boss in here. And here it looks like another Coliseum. Also true, maybe the cutscene we saw isn't how the game starts. There can be a tutorial section. That is true. That is true, Hypersonic. That maybe that's not how the game does really start. Maybe the game does start with us back in like Hallownest and, right after the events of the Pantheon of Hallownest or something like that. And then we get right back to it. There we go. Alright, so essentially our bread recipe is done. Like, done. We pretty much don't need to think about the bread ever again. Well, essentially for like another 2+ hours. So I'm just going to put that book away, because essentially we are done with it. Now it's time to move on to the cake, which means moving on to a different book. The cake I'll be making is from this book, The Fearless Baker. And it is a devil's food cake.